Yes, yes. What is up, everybody? Your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk Network coming at you with another edition of Off the Cuff. I've been missing in action. Haven't been consistent in the last 3 weeks. I've done one show in the last 3 weeks. You haven't seen Cigars and Sports in about 3 weeks. That's going to change this week. My boy Jim and I should be back. We're going to confirm it, but I'm almost positive we will be back Saturday. Same time, same bat channel. And we're going to get ham. We're going to go ham on these folks. You know what I'm saying? We definitely, what I'm trying to say, another Cigars and Sports. Doing it off the cuff. Your boy's been, out and about, on fire, on vacation. I just got back this morning from the beautiful world of Disney. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy. But just got back. Oh, I'm trying to check making sure that my audio is working on YouTube. There we go. It's not easy. All right. Just got back, man. Literally 3 hours ago. We left Friday. It's a long weekend, taking advantage of the long weekend here of Veterans Day. Took the kids out of school on Monday, so we were there. We got there Saturday, Friday night, man. Did 3 parks, not Magic Kingdom. We did Epcot, your homeboy's favorite park. That's the adult park. Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studio to close it off. And we are back. I'm tired as hell. But I'm gonna touch a little more on Disney on Friday. I promise, Jim. I got a bone to pick with Disney, man. A bone that's in my pocket and in my bank account. But anyway, had to get on it. I know it's gonna be another short week, busy at work. Things got gone in the way. I haven't been able to keep it consistent. Like I said, in the last 3 weeks, only done, did one unscripted sportscast. We haven't done a Cigars and Sports. Mainly my fault. I've had some issues, over the weekends. It's been traveling a lot with the family. That comes first. But trying to ramp it down here. Had to get on today. And I decided to do it off the cuff. As you know, it's my platform that I use, the show that I use to, when I want to do a reaction. There was like a lot of things that I wanted to react. And there's 2 things I'm going to give you my reaction on today, on off the cuff, man. In true E-Man style. From just truly the Average Joe Sports Network. And that's definitely got to touch on the Brian Daboll finally getting fired scenario. I know that happened yesterday, but I wasn't in town. But I'm going to hit that, and I'm going to give you some. I'm going to give you my take. I mean, this is way overdue, but also the names I'm hearing about head coaching replacement. People need to take a chill pill here and really, really get back to basics. But we're gonna harp on that, and we're gonna touch on that. We're gonna unpack it, not in the first segment, because I want to go over the Nico Harrison finally getting fired by the Dallas Mavericks. All right. And as y'all know, I'm a big Dallas Maverick. I'm not a big Dallas Maverick fan. I'm a big Luka fan, right? I've always been I've been covering Luka since he got drafted. I've covered Luka from Spain. You know what I'm saying? And you go back into my archives, you'll understand how, passionate I was about, wasn't the only one, but how bad this trade was. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody knows, everybody with just 1 cent of common sense understands that this trade was ridiculously stupid, right? And I think it was a bonehead move by the GM, and even a bigger bonehead move by the owner to bless this trade. But him getting fired was inevitable, right? So earlier today, news came out, Nico Harris is going to get clipped after a 10 a.m. meeting or something like that. Granted, folks, this is one of those things that, definitely it's worth getting fired for, right? I don't know if it's worth getting fired for, but not to beat a dead horse. But the fact that Nico was on a high with the Dallas Mavericks in the last 4 years, getting to a conference finals, right, and then losing to Golden State, then going to the playoffs as Luka was drafted, and then Nico came to the latter part of that. Then they make the NBA finals, and you're like, man, they're up and coming. All you need to do is build around Luka. Nico fires Luka. Nico not fires, trades him. Not only the trade was horrible, but the fact that you didn't get anything back for him. So it was a bad trade to begin with. Probably one of the most bonehead trades in the history of the NBA. But also not because of the caliber of player that was traded away, but also what you receive in return. Again, Anthony Davis, one of the most talented players in the history of this game. However, he is a guy that barely suits up. That's why they call him street clothes Davis. This is what you got in return. You got to return Anthony Davis, and I think a number 1 pick somewhere. That's it. I forget what the details are with Christie. Max Christie also the one you got. You received Christie back, but it doesn't matter. Big piece was Anthony Davis because they thought they could build and win now. Anthony Davis, as we all know, nickname street clothes. Going back to that, I digress. But also we know that he barely stays on the court. He's out of the court, off the court, injured more than he's on it. And the fact that he's only played 16 out of the 42 games he's been with the Mavericks, that should not be a surprise. That should not be a surprise at all. If the owner is surprised by how bad of a return they got, then he should have no business making business decisions from a player standpoint. Right? That's crazy. So just the fact that you had a generational talent like Luka, you trade that away, but then you get nothing in return for him. You know, you had Kyrie, who's barely plays as well. It is what it is. To me, this trade and the firing was overdue. Oh, got Ravery Sports. I never believed that was Nico's idea that the owner didn't want to pay Luka. Absolutely. No, I mean, the owner gets the buy-in. The owner has a lot of blame for this. Shout out to my boy Ravery Sports. Check out his channel. Everybody wanted to pay Luka, but the fact that he was the one who's going to visit the owner needs to take accountability and Dumont for making that trade. And he did. You have to, kind of like, Nico was going to get fired. This is not going to work. At the end of the day, this is not going to work. Shout out to Ravery Sports. Great channel. Check him out. But going back to this, right? You traded Luka because you wanted to win now. You're worried about him playing defense and out of shape. When they traded Luka last year, let me tell you, I know he still played a total of like 50 games, right? I know he was injured. But an out-of-shape Luka averaged his career average pretty much for the season. He still averaged 28 points a game. All right? 7.7 assists per game. This is out-of-shape Luka last year. 8.2 rebounds. Okay, you traded that guy that I think Luka, if it would have gotten the hint, I think you could have talked to Luka, and Luka probably still would have done what he did this offseason and shred himself and put probably have the best start of his career in a season, averaging 37 points a game, 9.4 rebounds per game, 9.1 assists per game, shooting 49% from the field. It's no surprise that Luka could do this. The season he took him to the finals, he averaged 33 a game. Similar numbers. So, yeah. Now, the more that we looked into this today, right? Let me go back here to, let's go back here to First Take today. And, of course, we had this picture of Dumont speaking to a young man wearing a Luka jersey last night at the game. People start going through the theories right now of what's going to happen. Dumont, this owner, also accepts that the Luka trade was a mistake, and he accepts a full accountability for approving the trade. Because remember, the owner has to approve the trade, or whoever's in charge of, I guess, signing the checks. All right. And then First Take today, earlier, Shams comes up and is asked by Stephen A. Smith. I'm sorry, guys. Let me just go over here. The question that everyone wants to know. Right? Who was the person that insisted that Doncic needed to go? Sorry, guys. I don't know why this is streaming. I'm having a little problem here with my with the video. Just go back here. Here is, and First Take this morning. Let me just pause this, go back. Stephen A. asked Shams Charania, whose idea was it, or who insisted for Luka to get traded? And here we go.
Let me know.
First of all, when you have this owner, Patrick Dumont, right? You say that he said to the fan, he's accepting accountability. Is this a scapegoat move? Owning the fact that, yes, this was us, and we consisted. Luka Doncic needed to go.
Stephen A., it was Nico Harrison. It was Nico Harrison's decision. It was Nico Harrison's pitch. It was Nico Harrison's idea to trade Luka Doncic. But, of course, any move that gets made, Stephen A., you know, if a general manager at any level is making a trade, it is with the blessing and the sign-off of ownership as well. Now, it might have taken Nico Harrison days, weeks to get Patrick Dumont on board, but after the Mavericks made it to the NBA Finals in 2024, I'm told that's when the Patrick Dumont-Nico Harrison relationship, that was the strongest it's ever been. That's when Patrick Dumont, what I'm told, he looked at Nico Harrison as a basketball savant, as someone that when Nico Harrison speaks, when he has an idea, it's basketball gospel. And so when Nico Harrison came to Patrick Dumont with that concept, there was alignment there. Eventually, there was alignment within the front office, alignment with the coach, and that's when you see this transaction take place. Let me know.
At the end of the day, Nico was the one who pushed this up. It was Nico's idea. As the owner, let me tell you how the real world works, right? If I hire you for a job for the E-Man podcast, and you're my producer, or you're the guy that comes up with ideas for my show, and you give me ideas, and I say, I'm cool with this. This looks good. I'm going to go on and do my best. Boom, 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 knock it out. But I'm not getting any views, hypothetically speaking, right? This is just a scenario. I got the right to fire your ass, even though I accepted to do the content you proposed to me. It's just the way it works, but it's my business, and I'm paying the person's salary. So I'm going to whack this person. I'm going to go ahead and recruit somebody that can probably align better to what I needed to do. Now, I'm going to live with that fault of not being more hands-on, of not maybe being a little lazy. That's what the owner is probably pissed off. He's pissed off. Dumont is more pissed off that, shit, we lost Luka Doncic, generational talent, and then we also didn't get anything in return, really. Just somebody that doesn't play, and Anthony Davis. So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen here. Most likely you will be trading Anthony Davis before the season is over. Most likely you will be taking phone calls. This is what's going to happen with Dallas. You're going to be taking phone calls for Kyrie Irving. It is time to tank. I know people don't like to hear that, but I would just let Cooper Flag develop, get some good veteran pieces around him to help him, because the kid, no disrespect to him, he's not the savior. You got to build a lot more around. You need to build a lot more around Cooper than you needed to do around Luka. Because remember, Cooper Flag is younger. Luka's been playing professional basketball since he was the age of 14. No knock against Flag. He's one of my favorite players because I'm a big Duke fan. But he ain't Luka. And with the first move, that's what this new interim GM, whoever the heck it is going to have to do. He's going to have the marching orders to clear up cap space and trade this dead weight. Because that's what Anthony Davis is. Hell of a player, Hall of Famer, but dead weight. Kyrie, hell of a player, Hall of Famer, dead weight. Time to freaking clean house. Let Cooper develop, put some veterans around him. It's a wasted year. Because it was a fucking wasted trade. Nobody in his right mind would trade Luka Doncic. Especially for what they received in return. This damage is going to be, first of all, the trade is going down as probably the worst trade in NBA history. And I'm not saying that, don't take this in the wrong context, right? But this is probably worse than the Trailblazers passing on Michael Jordan. Because with Luka Doncic, you knew what you had in place. You were this close. All you needed to do is put better supporting cast around him on number 2. You know what I mean? And absolutely get more defensive players, wing players that can help him with his weakness, which is defense. That's exactly this is why I'm not calling him Jordan, but this is worse than the Jordan because at least you knew what you had with Luka. The Trailblazers had the excuse that hey, Sam Bowie was the best player in college. My boy Charles, Jason Kidd made sure he didn't take the heat for that trade. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what, dude? I won't be surprised that, it was a 2-1 vote. And Kidd had no choice. We don't know what happened behind closed doors, but I'm almost positive that's what it is. And I feel bad for Jason Kidd as well. Because he's going to have to suffer the consequences. Jason Kidd is a good coach, and he's going to have to suffer the consequences of two individuals, and Nico and Dumont calling the shots. Good take right there, Reverie Sports. Great take. But yeah, this trade is going down as one of the worst trades in NBA history. And you hear it again, it's probably a worse move than the Trailblazers not drafting Michael Jordan and passing on Michael Jordan for Sam Bowie. If it's not worse than that, it is probably in the same level. All right, of boneheadness or biggest mistakes. Nico's going to get a job somewhere else, and I hope it's not in football with the New York Giants, because that'll be pretty bad. And segue into the New York Giants. All right, I'm not going to give you any takes on football this week, except for the Brian Daboll finally getting whacked, which everybody has been preaching this now for over a year. I want to give props and a shout out to a content creator that is, who knows her shit. Shout out Nikki Gist. Follow her on Twitter. She also writes for the Sporting News, if I'm not mistaken. But she's been on this now for over almost 2 years now on why this should not be going on and why Brian Daboll should go and some other people in the staff. And she's been covering this like white on rice, man, to the grain. And she's hit every angle on this correctly, and everything that she said has come through true. And again, shout out to her. If anybody should follow her, she does a great job with New York Giants content. Great writer, also has her own podcast. A lot of shit, dude. She's really good at it. And she was getting trashed all over the place because they were saying she didn't know what the hell she was talking about. It's the other way around. Great, giving Nikki her flowers. People should be giving her flowers. So shout out to Nikki. Just she kills it as a content creator for the Giants. But going back to this right here, where we are at with this, the damn Giants, bro, finally did something right. And I know a little too late. It took for Jackson Dart to get concussed again, right? And maybe hopefully miss a game. And hey, Brian is gone. Like my boy Jim calls him, Ozempic. What is it, Ozempic Daboll? Because he lost a lot of weight in Ozempic. Let me go ahead and go over here. Let's get this back over here. The Giants have fired Brian Daboll. Fire. You are fired, Brian. But yeah, finally happened this Monday. I got some notes over here. Brian, look, he's noticed, right? He first year got the Giants from losing a shitload of games to making the playoffs, right? And then after that, it was all downhill. He won 9 games that year. And his entire career as a head coach he's 20-40, with 9 of those wins coming in his first year as coaching and making the playoffs. His one playoff win. The year that Daniel Jones, man, had his best season, showing signs of what Daniel Jones is doing now. That's what everybody thought was like, oh shit, man. We got the quarterback, we have the head coach, man. He worked with Josh Allen. And I think Brian Daboll was giving enough rope, was given enough chances to turn this ship around, and he was overdue. And it was absolutely overdue. Brian Daboll should have been gone last season. Should have never finished the season as a head coach. And honestly, bro, everybody keeps saying, it's Brian Daboll's fault, man. Joe Schoen has given him the pieces. No, he hasn't. He's drafted well, but I think a lot of those draft choices are not Joe Schoen's. I said, Mike, my bad. Joe Schoen's. I think it's been a combination of both dudes. Yeah, they got Cam Scatterbo and Dart this year. That's it. And Malik Neighbors a couple of years ago. But what is the GM and Joe Schoen has done in the offseason? Jack shit. So he needs to go too. I think you need to clean house, man. I would fire him right now. And I start going through my search on the DL for the remainder of the season, have a person lined up. So when specifically right at the end of the season, when the season's over, I am signing my GM and my head coach at the same time. It should not be just be Daboll. It should be Joe Schoen as well. The entire, and then bring that coach, and I'm going to give you my choice because I've seen a lot of stupid names flying around there. Some nice names, but not the same thing. The next guy you hire needs to be I'm going to say hire Tom Coughlin, but it needs to be a Tom Coughlin status. All right. Established coach that knows what the hell he's doing and can play in this type of generational new football style of offense, right? We got the right quarterback for it. So that's what I'm saying. Here's the hint. That's the first hint. Brian, gone. Okay, good riddance. He's going to get a job as an offensive coordinator somewhere else because he's a good coach as an offensive coordinator. But get rid of Schoen as well. Get rid of him. Send them packing. All right? This should be a 2-for-1 deal here. And when you hire somebody, make sure that you go in person and be like, yo, I'm hiring the coach first, then I'm hiring the GM, because this has to be one of those things where the coach needs to kind of dictate what he wants. That's the type of coach you need. Somebody that knows what he wants to draft and what players he wants to sign. All right? To place around the talent of Dart, Scatterbo, Burns, all right, Malik Neighbors. All right, even I forget the guy that we drafted this year who hasn't done great, but, I forget our alignment. So I'm going to tell you who the obvious choice for me is. There's no other choice out there. But let me also tell you who I don't think should be. And let me go ahead and look for the names that have been getting dropped all over the place. So, since there's a lot of different coaches interested in this Giant job because of Nabes. You know what I mean? Because of Neighbors and Dart. Because of the scheme they could run. But let me play something that Ian Rappaport spoke at.
Frustrating loss
hold
for
on
the
a
New York
second.
Giants. Another
Give me 1
game
second. Hold on.
the road.
Let me just place this up here, guys. Sorry. So here's some of the choices that are being rumored out right straight from the horse's mouth. All right, from Mr. It's Ian Rappaport. Check out this interview with. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, another frustrating loss for the New York
Sorry about
Giants.
that. Check out this. This is from Giants Nation. I'm sorry. This website's incredible. Check out some of the names. And Mike Kafka's not the answer either.
Yeah, another frustrating loss for the New York Giants. Another game where they were on the road, they double-digit lead, watched it all go away, and enough was enough. Brian Daboll fired this morning by the New York Giants, officially moving on from a coach who was at one point the NFL Coach of the Year, made the playoffs, won a playoff game, helped develop Jackson Dart. It all looked like it was going in the right direction, but too many losses, too much frustration. And this is a roster with plenty of talent based on the people I've spoken with. The results were just not there. And if you'd given Brian Daboll a lie detector test late last night or early this morning, probably would have said the same thing. He knew it was time. The Giants knew it was time. Officially moved on today. They now have, I would say, one of the more coveted head coach openings in the NFL. By the way, General Manager Joe Schoen will not only stay on as GM, but run the search. Among the names I would keep an eye on as the Giants, let's say, potentially look to kind of regain some of the greatness of the Tom Coughlin era. I would say Steve Spagnuolo and Antonio Pierce, two head coach candidates. Both guys they will look at. Lou Anarumo also ties to the Giants organization.
My boy Jim from Fan in the Band. Oh, shit. Here we go. Oh, his choice is Freeman from Notre Dame would be a good fit. No Belichick, past his prime. Plus, the draft day pass on certain guys. Could have had Pickens, Wan'Dale Robinson. Yeah, good riddance. Absolutely. So, definitely, Freeman would be a good fit, but no. Sorry, Jim. I got one name in my mind that's going to change this franchise. Spagnuolo, sorry. Been there, done that. Lane Kiffin is another name that's flying around. Been there, done that. I forget the other one. Antonio Pierce. Again, been there, done that. Of course, Belichick can go pound sand and mix his clam chowder together. There's one game there's only one coach that's got to turn this franchise around. His name is Jon effing Gruden. All right? Gruden knows how to coach a effing quarterback. He's the innovator of this kind of, style, right? Remember, he coached Randall Cunningham, similar attributes back in the day. That's how he got in the scene with the Philadelphia Phillies. Won Super Bowl. He loves Jackson Dart. This man has seen more quarterback play, all right, than Cardi B has seen freaking sausage. So I'm gonna tell you right now, this is the guy that you hired. This is the guy you bring on. This is the guy that's gonna take Jackson Dart to the next level. This guy, he's ready to come back to the NFL. All right, he's wasting his talents at Barstool, and he's there just in purgatory right now, waiting until the next NFL team gives us a shot. Whatever happened before, the past is the past. Absolutely, Jim. Come on, man. It's my boy. That should be the man. This guy is Jon Gruden, as obvious as it is. It's one of those things that if it's staring you in the face, then it's probably the right choice. Let's not go outside the box. Lane Kiffin, Antonio Pierce, Spagnuolo. No, we don't need any of that shit. Get the guy that knows how to play, that knows how to develop quarterbacks, and who's won before. That's it. Let's not make this more freaking difficult than what it is. Let's not make this more difficult than what it is. We don't need that crap. We've gone that the Giants have gone through that road many, many times already since Coughlin. Stop getting stupid. Sometimes the KISS method is probably the best. Keep it simple, stupid. And that's Jon Gruden. Bring him in. Absolutely. Jon Gruden can grab his skill set of Jackson Dart, like a fan of the van right here says. Also, Gruden can change start and play, avoid medicals. Yeah, exactly. He could do that. He could use that skill set and mold them into a quarterback that's not going to get crazy. Yeah, I know. Lane Kiffin Kiffin signed an extension, I think last week, I believe. But bro, NFL money is NFL money, and dumbass, these people will do anything to get their coach. So, and the fact that Joe Schoen is the guy that's doing the search, again, I'm not a fan of Joe Schoen. Joe Schoen, in my book, should be gone as well. It is what it is. Jon Gruden or bust, just like the title says. Jon Gruden is the guy or bust. I know Kingsbury is going to be out there most likely, after what he did last year with Jaden Daniels. They think that, hey, you got Jackson Dart the same way. No. I don't want retreads. I don't want retreads in my tires. Give me some good shit. Give me some brand new tires. All right? Jon Gruden is not a coach that has failed. I even heard Josh McDaniels, OC, get the hell out of here, man. Every name in that list I've coached and have not won, have failed, have had very little experience from a winning standpoint. No, give me Jon Gruden. Jon Gruden for sure. He will. He's been doing a lot of image repair. All right, he's been doing a lot of image repair for the last 5 years. He will get back in the NFL if there's pushing enough money behind it. So that's what I think, man. That's exactly what I think in regards to this. So Jim, my boy Jim, a fan of the van, is out there. He wants to coach the Giants himself. We will be back this Saturday, right, Jim? Cigars and Sports. Haven't been back in 3 weeks. We are due. We're going to give the people what they want, and we're probably going to go ham on more topics. But we'll be back with Cigars and Sports. I'll be back on a more normal schedule next week as well. Got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff planned. But today is Veterans Day. I want to close this off. Oh, before I go back, here you go. Can we trade Mike Tomlin for 2 first-rounders? Hell no. Still better than what we have, no doubt about it. But no, not for 2 first-rounders, man. Start fresh. Start fresh. So I was mentioning, today is Veterans Day. Here we go. Saturday is my friend on. It's on, my friend. A lot of truth bombs to come out. That's true. That's true. We are back. We are back. It's official. We are back on Saturday, 8 p.m. Check my man Jim from Fan of the Van and myself. All right, for another edition of Cigars and Sports, the realest and trillest. Veterans Day is it's a day that it's one of those holidays, bro. Being a Cuban American, being a Cuban immigrant, somebody that was born in Cuba, who has experienced freedom in this country, right? Who, even though I came here very young, but my father was the one who risked himself to escape communism, and then risked my mom, my brother, and myself also after he left, because his main goal was to give us a better life, and he did. Rest his soul. And to me, Veterans Day simplifies freedom because you're in a country that we're able to do what I'm doing right now. Say my piece about anything. I could talk politics here if I want to. Nobody's got to send me to jail. Nobody's going to kill me. Well, rest in peace, Charlie. But you know what I'm saying. I could speak here in front of a mic and on a video and say whatever I want. And that's because of the soldiers, because of the individuals in the armed forces who risked their lives and who have risked their life, who are no longer here with us and have sacrificed their life for us to have these freedoms. The freedom to choose whatever we want to do, the freedom to learn whatever we want to learn, to pick a career, to speak, practice a religion that you love, raise your kids in a moral way. You don't have the government pointing their fingers at you, even though lately it seems like it's that way. But the fact that you have freedom of open up your own business, taking your talents to whatever organization, business, job, sports that you want, it's because the individuals who have sacrificed, who joined the armed forces, are no longer here, who have died in battle, died at war, because we do have had many since this country was born. And the fact that we give Veterans Day one day out of the year, it should be probably a whole month celebrating. But to me, Veterans Day is every day. Remember those that sacrificed their lives for our freedom, but also thank those who are still alive, who are probably missing a limb, who have PTSD, who most likely are struggling because they suffered a lot of mental issues at war, but they did it because they love their country. Also, shake their hand. They're still here alive. Shake their hand while they're alive. But always remember the ones that are no longer here. This holiday to me is should be a freaking year-long celebration of remembrance, not just one day. With that being said, I appreciate you all. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate everybody. We'll be back at a more consistency next week. Give you a little bit off the cuff, but hey, your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk Podcast signing out, y'all. We will see you next week and Friday on another edition of Saturday on another edition of Cigars and Sports, y'all. Peace.
Yo!